Apparently, Larkin went on Fox News to cook.
What is the number that is fine with you? Is there a benchmark? Is it fine? How many children can be raped and it's fine if you're in relation to the immigration community?
If we're going to talk about children being raped, then we need to hold this President Donald Trump accountable and all those that have been implicated by the Epstein files that the Department of Justice is still not leaking. They've sent APAC after Thomas Massey for having the temerity to hold accountable the pedophiles that are in control of our government.
Thank you. We appreciate your time very much.
We got to get this in front of as many people as possible. Oliver Larkin. For those of you who don't know, Oliver Larkin, I mean, everyone in this community knows, but this is for the clip. For those of you who don't know, Oliver Larkin is running against one of the most right-wing Democrats, Jared Moskowitz in Florida. Oliver Larkin is running for Congress in Florida 25 against Jared Moskowitz, one of the most right-wing Democrats, a person who's called himself a DeSantis Democrat, a person who has openly said is more to the right than Marco Rubio, a person who was the first person to join the Doge Caucus as a Democrat. That is who Oliver Larkin will unseat. That is beast mode. We need real fighters like Oliver Larkin in Congress. Oh my God, what a cook. What a cook. Can you get a VAR on that Larkin clip? Yeah, let's run it back again. Let's run it back again really quickly. Let's run the VAR on this. So I'm gonna go through this slowly, okay? Playback speed 0.5.
What is the
so Fox News host clearly is trying to claim that all undocumented migrants are rapists at a time when obviously all undocumented migrants are rapists is the claim that's coming from the Fox News host here, Oliver Larkin, running for Florida 25 against Jared Moskowitz, one of the most right-wing Democrats out there. Okay, we're doing a VAR check here. Slow motion, flag on the play. You see the Fox News host come in hot with unbelievable amounts of racialized agitative propaganda. Okay? Just want to say Oliver Larkin obviously is feeling the heat, considering that he recently tried to do a debate with Jared Moskowitz. Jared Moskowitz ran away from said debate.
Is there a benchmark? Is it fine? How many children can be raped and it's fine?
Remember, flag on the play. Wee woo, wee woo. We got a Republican talking about child. Now, this is not a very good predicament for any Republican to be in, because the moment that a Republican starts talking about child, claiming that undocumented migrants are and raping children, you can very quickly turn the conversation around to the rapist in Congress on the Republican side. Many people don't know this, but the grand old party is actually the party of okay? Pedocon is a theory like gravity is a theory, okay? So Oliver Larkin will very quickly turn around and flip the Uno reverse. As you can see here from the way he is pulling off the Shia smirk, he's ready for it. He receives this racial information and this racial agitprop, and instead of getting very offended or angry at it, he very quickly deploys the Shia smirk. You can see that right here. This is, famously the Shia smirk. You've probably seen Abbas Arakshi also deploy a similar Shia smirk as well. Sometimes you'll see this from, the Houthis, the Ansar Allah communiques. Let's see what his retort looks like.
If you're in relation to the immigration community.
If we're going to talk about children being raped, then we need to hold this President Donald Trump accountable and all those that have been implicated by the Epstein files that the Department of Justice is still not leaking. They've sent APAC after Thomas Massey for having the.
Now, this is also additional. This is a double bind, okay? First, he deploys the no you technique, and in this situation, obviously, you never want to be a Republican bringing this kind of stuff up because, your side, from Dennis Hastert to what was his name, Roy Moore, all the way to, of course, the Epstein affiliates. This is not going to be good. This is going to hit like a Shahed drone. Okay, on a $1 billion radar installation parked at the Al Udeid Air Base, if you will. But he doesn't stop right there. So the Mosaic defense system deployed here is multifaceted. First, you pepper with drone strikes, Shahed drones that are relatively cheap, but very effective. But then the ballistic munition comes in. And the ballistic munition in this situation is the tactical deployment of Thomas Massie. Very specific. Thomas Massie being unseated by AIPAC for holding to account the Trump administration's defense of the, Epstein class. So that secondary strike that comes right after the Shahed drone strike is huge.
The temerity to hold accountable the pedophiles that are in control of our government.
Thank you. We appreciate your time very much. What is the number that is fine with you? Is there a benchmark? Is it fine? How many children can be?
So, as you see, this is not only a critical hit, but it's a double crit, which is unique. Double crits are very effective. Okay. Obviously, he evaded the defenses. He was able to penetrate the anti-air defense systems and then deliver ballistic munitions right after, which is precisely the reason why the host quickly turns around and deploys the ripcord and says, "Thank you so much for coming on the broadcast. You will never be invited back again." Brilliant stuff from Oliver Larkin, running in Florida 25 against Jared Moskowitz.
We appreciate your time very much. What is the number?
We appreciate your time. Great stuff. Great stuff. Love to see it. Love to see it. What are his odds realistically? I think they just rose up quite a bit. Austin Ox will probably make haste and slap this on TikTok ASAP. It will go viral, and his odds will skyrocket. It's good. By the way, that's how you do a Fox News appearance, Democrats. I've seen a lot of Democrats go on Fox News and agree with the hosts. I've seen a lot of Democrats go on Fox News and talk about the future of the Democratic Party. Oh my God. What about these DSA candidates? Jared didn't leak his July internal, which is a bad sign for him. Ooh, not good. Ooh, oh no, Jared. He was so forthcoming with his internals up until this point. I wonder why. Interesting. Yeah, he backed out of the Black Caucus debate as well. Jared Moskowitz did. They are calling you reprehensible. Okay, quick, give me the link. Give me the live broadcast link.
In the Republican Party, it's all aimed at overthrowing the establishment. The juxtaposition between Carville and Piker is very interesting to me. Carville's a guy who's won, hundreds of political campaigns in America over 30 years, 40 years. Hasan Piker is an influencer who abuses his dog on camera. And he's very popular with a certain fringe bunch of people out there, but he doesn't care if the Democratic Party succeeds.
I'm assuming
he wins if the Democratic Party loses, and he wins if Democratic Socialists win. His interests are not aligned with winning in purple states, in swing states, and the
nasty.
like. And that's
now they're
the problem
doing
with the
defamation.
DSA, and a lot of DSA leaders admit as much.
Yeah, I think that what you're seeing here
That's crazy.
is that voters want.
This is something that most mainstream media has not touched because they know it's defamation. It's actually kind of wild that they're in such a panic state that they're now moving on to like Fox shit that Fox News won't even do. Like Fox News won't even cover that. Fox News won't even say that because they know it's defamation. That is unbelievable that CNN is now entertaining defamation when Fox News wouldn't even touch that.
Is that a majority of Americans wouldn't vote for a Democratic Socialist for president. So what Democrats are going to have to confront over the next year and a half is who is the nominee that can actually ultimately win in a general election. And those two things are very different, the primary electorate versus the general electorate. At the end of the day, we saw what happened when 2020. The Democratic Party brand was also not great. But
That's
Democrats,
wild.
at the end of the day, picked someone who ultimately win.
They must be
and I
scared,
do think that the way the Democratic map is now for 2028 with South Carolina first, et cetera, will potentially produce a nominee that can ultimately win in the general election.
I just want to push back on the idea that Zoran Mamdani is like delivering. I mean, he's delivering great social media content. Agreed. And a lot of these folks,
they're so butthurt. They're so mad.
Hasan Piker and Nick Fuentes is production value, about 6 feet, and somebody who can bench maybe 300 pounds in Hasan Piker, and I don't know what Nick Fuentes can do, but he's got a little noodle
I can't, but thank you.
But when it comes to Zoran Mamdani, he's doing this fantastic social media content.
He is delivering on cost.
How? He hasn't done that yet. I mean, he's balanced the budget.
Like he's frozen the rent,
obligations.
things like that.
Yeah, freezing the rent, which is good if you're in a rent-controlled house, which a lot of those.
Which a lot of people in New York City are.
And so
but this, I think this is the central point, which is that it might work in New York City.
It does not going to work everywhere.
Work in Michigan or the rest of the country.
You can get away with it in the short term, but eventually it's all going to come crashing down, and I guarantee you I know who they're going to blame.
All right. Donnie O'Sullivan, thank you so much for being with us. This really interesting set of conversations you've had here. And please don't miss Donnie's episode of The Whole Story. It's going to air Sunday at 8 o'clock Eastern, right here on CNN, and you can watch it the next day on the CNN app. Coming up next year, Congressman Jim Jordan will join us in the arena to talk about the new CNN polling that could spell trouble for congressional Republicans ahead of the midterms.
Wow, that was awesome. That was awesome. Dude, they are terrified, dude. God damn. Dude, I never listen. Here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. I didn't we've always said that there are some liberals, there are some establishment Democrats who hate the left more than they hate Donald Trump. Okay? But Democrats, for the most part, have actually been very careful not to go beyond a certain point, right? AOC is a great example of this, where obviously they hated that AOC defeated Crowley, but AOC was in the ranks of the Democratic Party in general, and they basically welcomed her, right? And when push comes to shove, even though there's a lot of resentment towards Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar, even at points Nancy Pelosi has defended Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, but they've also attacked Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar as well, but they've never gone past the point. They've never gone past the point of actively presenting the left flank as a bigger danger to American politics. The only time I've seen them do this was when Bernie was slated to win the primaries in 2020. When was it Chris Hedges that went on MSNBC and said Bernie Sanders, if he wins, he's gonna bring out the brown shirts. They're gonna execute us. They're gonna execute us in Central Park, right? Or no, it was Chris Matthews, not Chris. Wait, what did I say? Chris Hedges? I'm so sorry. That's my goat. That's insane that I said that. Chris Matthews, not Chris Hedges. Chris Hedges is amazing. I apologize. I apologize to Chris Hedges, who is, of course, fantastic. It was Chris Matthews. Chris Hedges would never say that. Or maybe would say it in a positive way. So what I was saying is they must be very panicked about what's going on within the Democratic Party. So much so that they are now resorting to insane levels of slander, including but not limited to complaining about Zoran Mamdani not accomplishing his agenda, which is demonstrably false, right? It's demonstrably false. And I said this from the beginning, that they did not fear Zoran Mamdani losing. They did not fear Zoran Mamdani failing. They feared his success, okay? Look at these polls, man. Look at these polls. Mamdani at -5, AOC at minus 12. This is across the board, by the way. This is the CNN SSRS poll, favorables highest to lowest net. Zoran Mamdani has the highest favorability, AOC in a close second place. This means favorabilities in the Democratic Party and also the unfavorabilities coming from the Republicans. Okay? I feel that if a leftist candidate is favored to win, they will pull a 1968 convention, a 2016 Bernie, a 2020 Super Tuesday, and rat fuck the candidate, even if it would lead to a loss in the general. If we establish a base of support within the center of power of the Democratic Party in these midterms, it will be far less likely for them to successfully accomplish that. The environment that you are describing is so different than what it is right now. One of the primary weapons that the establishment has always wielded against their left flank has been mainstream outlets consistently smearing their left flank opponents, the left flank insurgent movements, people like Bernie Sanders. That was unbelievably successful in 2016 and also successful in 2020. With the exception of, I would say, older black voters, who are, of course, a very important and very reliable voting bloc, one of the last machines of the Democratic Party that still actually works, there's not a lot of juice left in the establishment side. People no longer believe the electability argument. I say older black voters specifically because younger black voters also do not give a shit about what the television is saying is the most reliable vote. And even with older black voters, you will slowly but surely start seeing changes as well. That's why, if you recall, when I talked about the CBC a couple of months ago, I told you something. I don't know if you remember. I said that the CBC, when it was initially established, the Congressional Black Caucus, when it was initially established, was a very progressive force in the Democratic Party. Okay? Historically speaking, the Congressional Black Caucus was not actually a fixture of entrenched power within the Democratic Party. That, of course, changed over the last, 3 or 4 decades. And it became a prominent fixture of entrenched power where seniority obviously played a major role. They got a lot of money from AIPAC. They became openly and outwardly profit-seeking around healthcare, which is antagonistic to the inception of the Congressional Black Caucus, ironically enough. And here's the thing. You will see after these primary victories, you will see after these midterm victories, the ideological makeup of the Congressional Black Caucus change dramatically. Maylot Quiros, Daria Liza Avila Chevalier, Chris Rabb, Donovan McKinney, if we're lucky, Elijah Manley. These representatives will actually, in Hartzell Gray, Cori Bush, right? If these representatives all win, the ones that I just, the ones I told you have already won their primaries, but these representatives, if they win, they will, and Justin Pearson as well, these representatives will become, as a reliable voting bloc, these representatives will quite literally shift the power center within the Congressional Black Caucus. I know we don't often get into black people's business, but Jesus Christ. Yeah, the only individual that you can talk about if you want to talk about the Congressional Black Caucus is Sri Tanadar and Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Are you saying the hierarchy of power in the HBC is about to change? I think that there are plenty within the ranks of the CBC that look at the situation, have their own ideological convictions, and don't want to play the role of establishment Democrats. Okay? That's what I think. Do you understand? I think that there, and you've seen it already. You've seen some higher ranking Congressional Black Caucus representatives literally break ranks with the rest of the caucus to endorse against the caucus with Abdullah Syed, with Donovan McKinney. I wish they would do that with Elijah Manley as well. I'm shocked that there hasn't been more momentum in that front. Do you understand? The older CBC reps that are, holding on, clinging on to their seat of power are obviously weaponizing their influence and prominence against left flank candidates. But there is like one step underneath that with a level of seniority within the Congressional Black Caucus that sees the changes that are taking place and actually want to lean in the direction of progress. Do you understand? The Congressional Black Caucus is not a monolith either. No one is a monolith, obviously, and the CBC certainly isn't. So yes, while Clyburn is still trying to squeeze as much juice as he can out of the perhaps last cycle that he will be impactful in, it's not working. And there are those right underneath him in the CBC that I think recognize the changes that are taking place and want to be there for it. Do you understand? And perhaps more importantly, the more these insurgencies win races, the more these insurgent black socialist candidates actually have a national impact, the more the unks and the aunties, the more the boomers in every demographic, but also specifically the black voting bloc, will look to that insurgent movement with admiration and will support it. This is very important for 2028. Perhaps one of the most important aspects of 2028. You cannot get out of the Democratic Party's primary without being able to get the boomers on your side. And you cannot win the Democratic Party's primaries without black boomers. Okay? Older black voters are basically the vanguard, the backbone. And the Democrats know this. The establishment knows this. That's why they swapped the first primary to South Carolina. So Jim Clyburn can offer a major boost to whatever the establishment, whoever their establishment frontrunner is. There's obviously advantages to this because I think it will destroy the Pete Buttigieg's of the world. Obviously, it will humiliate whichever candidate is seeking out the establishment voters that is not going to get the Jim Clyburn touch. And it will actually greatly benefit the additional primaries that come after, because I think a lot of people still think that vote for this candidate because I said so, because he's the most electable or she's the most electable is going to work. It's not even working in 2026, so it will certainly not work in 2028. Do you understand? It's not even working right now. It's not working in Michigan. It didn't work for Andrew Cuomo in New York. Jim Clyburn endorsed Andrew Cuomo, if you recall. I don't know if you guys remember that. It failed. Zohran Mamdani became the mayor. The Gretchen Whitmer endorsement, in spite of her, decent approval ratings, did not work to move the needle in Haley Stevens' direction. The electability arguments are falling apart in real time. Emerson also polled Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, saying that she holds a 62% approval rating among Democratic primary voters with a 17-point drop since April when it was 79%. This happened, and if you recall, I talked about this. This happened because of that hot mic moment. This happened because of the AI data centers, which she openly stated were unpopular, but that they signed that kind of stuff into law regardless of its unpopularity. The first impact came from the Trump, the hiding her face in the White House. That was a big deal as well. The second impact came from the data centers. Things are going to get very interesting in the upcoming months. It is going to be a real which side are you on moment for many Democrats. I think the voters, a lot of self-identifying liberals, will side with us because they share that deep disgust, that deep disdain, that deep hatred for Trumpism, for MAGA, for the Republican Party in general. Many of these DC dickheads, on the other hand, who go through the cocktail circuit, who go through the speaker gig circuit, have already developed established relationships with Republicans, so they do not share our anger. They do not share our anger. Even if liberals are DSA curious, even if liberals are maybe a little worried about, how radical socialism might be, they still hate Republicans far more. This is yet another fissure between the establishment and the base of support. The establishment and the voters are completely at odds on the issue of Israel. The establishment and voters are completely at odds on the issue of data centers. I say Let them. Let them chirp. Let them be angry. Let them get confused. It's clear that the DC consultant class is completely out of step with where the voters are. Meanwhile, new Abdul Al-Sayed AOC ad just dropped. Let's take a look.
Dr. Abdul Al-Sayed and I may come from different places, but we're forged from the same fight.
For money out of politics, money in your pocket, and Medicare
for all. That's the part they can't stand. That's why billionaires are spending millions to bury Abdul and this movement.
For all, because wherever you live, however you pray, whoever you vote for, I'm gonna fight for you.
And we only win
when all of us win.
That's right.
I'm Abdul Al-Sayed, and I approve this message. All right.
Yay!
Oh, The Atlantic. Jonathan Chait. What Abdul Al-Sayed's election in Michigan would prove. He and his allies are betting that an obsessively anti-Zionist left-wing politics can win everywhere. Sad day for Jonathan Chait, because it absolutely can win everywhere, including the reddest of districts. The last two paragraphs you wanted me to read. The combination of populism and anti-Zionism has introduced a strain of political rhetoric that heretofore has had little place within the Democratic Party. Oh. Anybody who has observed the Republican Party in the Trump era, however, would recognize a combination of populist demagoguery and edgelord bullying. Informing your supporters that the problems are the result of a shadowy cabal of billionaire conspirators tends to unleash passions that can be difficult to control. Al-Sayed and Trump share a gleeful lack of concern for the consequences. Although the comparison may sound like an insult, it's one Al-Sayed has invited himself. Earlier this year, he held a campaign event with Hasan Piker, a popular streamer and enthusiast for left-wing authoritarian regimes. When reporters questioned his choice of allies, Al-Sayed replied, if perfectly inoffensive won elections, then Donald Trump would have never been president. Democrats now have to decide whether they think they can win elections this way and whether they want to. Yeah, the problem is Donald Trump is unbelievably successful. That's kind of the issue. Okay? And Democrats, for the longest time, put their head in the sand, plug their eyes and ears, and refuse to recognize that. We want to defeat the Republicans. Donald Trump is an incredibly not popular anymore, but incredibly successful Republican nonetheless. And that is the problem. And we will defeat Trumpism in this country. It is very clear to me that the establishment has no answer for it. It's very clear to me that not only does the establishment have an answer for how to defeat Trumpism, they don't even want to. Okay? This is, call me Chinese, the way this article is saying. Hasan and Abdul Al-Sayed's strategy seems very successful, but at what cost? Did a left left article. Will left-wing Democrats reinvent the party or hurt its chances in November? Bernie Sanders' erstwhile campaign manager explains why he thinks it's the former. Oh, don't do it, FaZe. FaZe, no. Don't do it. Don't do it, FaZe. Don't pick up the phone call from Isaac Chodener. FaZe, no. I need context. What's the title? Ironic picture choice, considering you just stepped in dog shit on live CNN when you outright defame someone again, ironically about a dog. Yawn, I went easy on that fraud. Editor-in-chief of the Dispatch, Jonah Goldberg, is the one who slandered me on Fox News. Hey, Jonah, you seem real scared about the changes taking place in American politics on that CNN panel, buddy. Is everything okay? I said Fox News out loud. Oh, well, what's the difference? Well, I guess the difference is Fox News is a little bit more careful about, deploying slander. Academia is so hilariously cooked, says Egg Boy. I'm not an AAUP member, but I think it's a really bad idea for the American Association of University Professors to be endorsing candidates, especially in a factional Democratic primary. Academia is so hilariously cooked, says Maddie Iglesias. Okay, where was I? Oh, yeah. We did the vote blue no matter who is bullshit. It turns out vote blue no matter who was just to whip the ranks and get the left to support establishment Democrats no matter what. It turns out it doesn't work in the right-wing direction for the centrist and right-wing Democrats. It doesn't work that way. That talking point is dead. But I don't think it'll be that big of a problem in general, because what these guys don't understand is this. The more establishment Democrats and the consulting class actively try to undermine their left flank, where all of the momentum is, the more they lose credibility. They don't actually end up gaining credibility. In order to gain credibility, you have to win. You have to defeat Republicans. You have to win elections. And if you can't do that and you just chirp from the sidelines, you'll be pushed further and further away from the center of power. Some have already seen the writing on the wall. There are those who in the past have defended centrists that are a little bit more agnostic to our flank, a little bit more supportive of the insurgent candidates. They see the momentum, they see the excitement, and for one reason or another, maybe it's purely posturing because they think this will be good for career opportunities down the line, or maybe because they actually see that excitement and change their minds about the left flank insurgencies. I'm not going to make any assertions on what the reasoning is, but there are some who are recognizing that these changes are coming and where the enthusiasm is in the base. There are those who are resistant to this change, though, and those who are ideologically loyalist to the current, the old guard, the current established center of power. Okay? Those people will no longer have a place in the Democratic Party. They will not be hired as consultants ever again. As time goes on, as the left flank is more and more popular and it grows in power and influence, the near attendants of the world will either have to do an about face or they will lose. They will no longer be electable. They will no longer be hired. Okay? Troy Jackson had an exclusive interview with Aaron Parnas, by the way. This is the new article that came out trying to attack Troy Jackson. For those of you who don't know, the Troyotathon is already live and alive. We have the Troy Mentum. Turns out Troy's a poster. Turns out Troy had an anonymous account that he created online to troll Republicans. They're trying to platinarize this race to the best of their ability, but it's really funny because I think like Troy is a known entity in Maine politics. So I don't think you can just like turn him into this like random outsider who hasn't been thoroughly vetted. He's been in the state legislature for 26 fucking years. He's been the state Senate president for 6. So all of these like different scandals from an objectively very straight and orderly man who has dedicated his life to basically serving Mainers is not going to work. He is an insider. His politics are on the outside, especially of mainstream establishment appetites and the mainstream establishment legislative agenda. But he is very much a normal guy who is an insider. Turns out he had an anonymous account where he was trolling Republicans. CNN brought this up. I think it was CNN that uncovered this. Let's see what his response was.
As you know about any campaign, opposition research is a big part of it. And today we got a report from CNN that suggested you ran troll accounts in your past to troll Republicans online. Is that true? What's your response?
Well, I guess so. The thing about it is that, I fight for workers. And during that period, me and Governor LePage were having quite a time. And, he wasn't helping workers. And I'm interested in fighting for workers.
I guess so. By the way, Adam Wren is cooking the Skolton interview that took place on Semaphore, where Skolton said she wouldn't endorse Abdul al-Sayed. What Skolton misses here in the interview with Nicholas Wu is that al-Sayed isn't just winning online, but offline. He's held nearly 500 IRL events and recently drew some 2,600 people to a rally in her own district. In one of the twists of the race, and against conventional wisdom, Stevens' campaign is one of the most evident online right now and less so offline. Yeah. Abdul al-Sayed has got the inside-outside strategy down pat, okay? He's going on mainstream media, but he's prominent on the internet. He is popping off online, but he's also offline. He is all over the state. He's up and down the state. Here's Haley Stevens' online footprint, though.
I just saw Odyssey in 4DX in, I don't know, My tush was going from left to right. I wish Odysseus had a little more joy, a little bit of energy, a little bit of enthusiasm, and a little bit more sticking to him. Because that's the Michigan way. I guess it's not the Greek way. Cyclops, Bozo, keep that one eye open when I'm senator of Michigan. Michiganders, you better go see the Odyssey. And I love that Helen of Troy was black. I just saw Odyssey in 4D.
This is the most insane impersonation because if you close your eyes, you're like, what the fuck? Why is Haley Stevens talking about the Odyssey? It is truly 1010. If you were just an audio only listener up until this moment, tune into the broadcast, take a closer look. That's not Haley Stevens. It's incredible. It's perfect. It's shocking how good it is. Okay? I'm going to run it again.
I don't know. My tush was going from left to right. I wish Odysseus had a little more joy, a little bit of energy.
Like down to the facial expressions too. Like she's so good.
A little bit of enthusiasm and a little bit more sticking to him. Because that's the Michigan way. I guess it's not the Greek way. Cyclops, Bozo, keep that one eye open when I'm senator of Michigan. Michiganders, you better go see the Odyssey. And I love that Helen of Troy was black.
A little bit of sticking to him. I got another one for you. Yeah, I saw. Wait, this is just two Michiganders talking about the things they love about the great state.
I love about Michigan as someone who grew up there for the first 13 years of my life. Coney Islands. Fago, having all 4 seasons and some of the most beautiful falls.
Sticking it to 'em!
Sand dunes. A day at the beach where Lake Michigan is like the ocean. Little Vernors when you're sick.
Ignoring the cool kid chatter.
Motown. Mackinac Island and its fudge.
Not listening to the coastal elites.
Using the back of your hand to show where you're from. Superman ice cream.
Having a little bit of joy, a little bit of enthusiasm, a little bit of energy.
Calling it pop, not soda. Having so many options on Punchki Day. Detroit-style pizza with the crispy square edges.
It's real.
Oh, no.
That's not a Michigander thing?
No, why would that
What do you think is?
You know, I actually wanted to talk to you about the human rights abuses.
Human rights. Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
Where are you going? What? Haley?
Oh, dude.
Israel comes to me in my dreams.
That's the Michigan way. Oh, dude, it's so awesome. Idiot question time. Why is Michigan so important that the likes of AIPAC spent close to $40 million on it? It's a anti-Zionist senator. The Senate is like, there's only 100 senators, okay? Senate is the upper chamber. Senate is very important. A senator has a lot of power. If the balance of the Senate majority is in the hands of a pro-Medicare for all Bernie-crat who's an anti-Zionist, that is going to be a huge ordeal. It's even, Senate seat is worth a lot. That's 3 terms of a House seat. Yeah, it's 3 terms of a House seat. And there's like 430, I forget how many representatives there are. There's a lot of districts, okay? 430 plus representatives, 435 representatives, okay? And that number is slated to grow as well. I think it might be 438, actually. I think you guys are wrong. Anyway, it doesn't matter. There's a lot of representatives. There are a lot of representatives. There are only 100 senators. So the power that a senator has is far greater than someone in the House of Representatives. Okay? There's also a far narrower majority in the Senate. So ultimately, a Senate seat is very important. And until Bernie Sanders, outside of Bernie Sanders, independent senator from Vermont, Bernie Sanders, we've never really had a Bernie-crat in the Senate. Chris Van Hollen is basically carrying that torch right now. But that is a unique predicament, right? There are a couple senators who are actually pretty good. Ed Markey, Chris Van Hollen. There's what's his face? I mean, there's a bunch. There's a bunch of them. Warren is all right, but ultimately, We have never had like a direct Bernie-crat. We've never had a straight up Bernie-crat in the Senate. Okay? We just have not. So this will be huge. Other than Bernie? Yes, other than Bernie. So that's why people are freaking the fuck out over it. Is Abdul to the left of Bernie? On Israel, he is. But broadly, no. Abdul El-Sayed is not a socialist. Bernie Sanders is. Would you call Flanagan, Jackson, and Stratton Bernie-crats? I would call, out of those three, I would call Jackson a Bernie-crat. Close to a Bernie-crat. Maybe not full-blown a Bernie-crat, but Peggy Flanagan is great, for the record. I like her. I just don't think that she is like, I don't think she's a Bernie-crat. In the same vein, this was the full CNN clip. Hasan Piker is a reprehensible ideological buffoon.
Multimedia marketplace.
Oh, it's on Grabian. Oh, that's going to make if it's on Grabian, that means they're going to post this in other places. They're probably going to make it to Fox News and shit, right?
John Goldberg, can I get you to weigh in on that?
Yeah. So I just for level setting purposes, I don't take Hasan Piker seriously as a person. I think he's a reprehensible ideological buffoon.
The multimedia marketplace.
But that said, he does represent the constituency, and it's a very historic constituency. The radical left doesn't like conservatives, but man, does it hate liberals.
That's not true. Oh, that's not true, baby. Oh, we hate you far more than liberals, okay? It's actually the opposite. This is what a lot of people don't understand. Don't make me play the DNC rant once again, the quiet whisper, the quiet whisper scream rant that I did on the last night of the DNC. We are anti-fascist, okay? We are anti-fascist first and foremost. We hate the fascists, but we also hate the collaborators. But we definitely hate the fascists, okay? We hate Republicans. We hate Trumpism. We hate MAGA. But we also hate Democrats who collaborate and cooperate with MAGA. We hate the establishment Democrats for their closeness to MAGA. We want them to represent us. We want them to represent justice. We want them to represent truth. We don't like when they cooperate with fascists. That's it. Play the rant. It's one of your best. Timestamp rant. I have a bookmark, lol. Anti-war, while good, isn't profitable. No, dude, you're delusional. Are you crazy? You think she's like a secret peaceful dove? When has she ever? Kamala Harris has been in politics for, I wouldn't say that long. She was vice president for 4 years. Before that, she was a senator for a couple of years under the Trump administration. But beyond that, she's been a cop her whole life. She has very little policy backing. That's why I've been saying, I'm in a holding pattern. I'm in a holding pattern. I'm in a holding pattern. I'm going to wait and see. This speech is supposed to be the moment that she shows you what she is and who she is and what she's going to do. That speech was literally a nothing will fundamentally change speech. Where the is the joy? Where the is the hope? Where the is the goddamn momentum? She says she's going to have the most lethal army of all time. Are you out of your fucking mind? What are we doing? This is not the Republican Party. Where the are they turning into the 90s Republicans? I'm losing my mind. I have to whisper scream because I don't want to wake up my goddamn neighbor. The reason why I was excited, potentially, is because the very fact that they dropped Biden was uncharacteristic for the Democratic Party. They run scared all the time. But for me, I thought, wow, the Democrats are behaving in a competent way. The Democrats are behaving in a competent way, like a competent party that wants to win. That's good. Then something amazing happened where she locked herself in with a yokel who comes from a working class teacher background, a guy with no aspirations for higher office, a guy from the middle of the country with a progressive policy track record. That made me go, oh my God, they are going to own being a party that wants to help people. Maybe that might not translate to actual policies down the line. There's the Obama equation of it all, running as a progressive and then being a neoliberal when in office. But even then, on the messaging front, it seemed like they had changed something. Tonight has solidified my opinion that nothing has fundamentally changed. Their housing policy is deregulating housing. That's what they say. I don't know the full details of it yet. I don't know what that's going to look like. It's not just like abolishing single family housing zoning restrictions. If that's what you EMBs are thinking, I don't think that's the only thing that they're saying. Trump is also running on deregulating housing to open up more housing units. This is objectively a neoliberal policy. They're running on tax cuts and deregulation. It's crazy. And beyond that, in terms of the foreign policy, the Democrats don't even run to the right. They own the right now. Everybody knows that Republicans are reactionary monsters who always love waging war and continuing death and destruction. The Democrats also are absolutely that party. There was a time and place where the Democrats at least used to attempt a we are the peaceful party. We're the party of peace attitude. That has changed. It's gone to the left of the Republicans no more. They're not doing that, which is so stupid because Americans benefit from America being a hegemonic superpower, 800 military bases. All of that translates to, beautifully affordable treats that you can consume at a moment's notice. That much is true. But Americans don't understand that. When it comes down to it, on the messaging front, they see themselves as peaceful people. They see themselves as reluctantly having to wage war around the world. That's why Trump has run as the peace candidate in 2016 and won against Hillary Clinton, who he presented as a pro-Iraq war lover. He won in 2016 with that. And then 4 years of Trump waging wars, he still said, I didn't start any new wars and I assassinated our enemies. The Democrats have to figure this out as quickly as they possibly can. If they run on, we are the pro-war party, we are going to have the most lethal military of all time, they're not going to win any of those jingoistic voters because those dumbasses are voting Republican every election anyway. The only part of this that was like truly progressive was abortion. Kamala Harris being a woman obviously automatically is like a massive W on that front. Has Hasan been raging since Kamala said supporting Israel 30 minutes ago? This is not, dude, this is so much worse than just like supporting Israel. My expectation is that every Democrat is going to support Israel. Please. Oh my God, the base. Lasering in on that because you think that that is my bias. Please, that is a singular aspect of a much broader phenomena that I am trying to describe to you. But you don't want to hear it because you want, wow, what a beautiful speech. What a wonderful speech. Kamala Harris is killing it. And because you're not getting that, you're like, there must be some cynical reason why Hasan is saying that. Not because he genuinely is at odds with what he just watched. He's mad that Kamala Harris didn't say she loves Palestine. That's not it. I think you're not realizing that there are a lot of Republicans that are looking to drop Trump. Don't you think her speech opens? I mean, dude, I should just run this on repeat to be like, hey, remember what you guys were saying to me and how right I was? This was the last night of the DNC, guys. And no, Israel wasn't popular. It was not popular. You're wrong. It literally was not popular even back then. That was the cult from the Democrats. Oh, Jonah Goldberg, Hamas tried to kill children. Israel literally doesn't get off the Kool-Aid. What are you talking about? Of course, Jonah Goldberg is a huge supporter of Israel. Why? What do you mean? Did you say, and there it is? Is Jonah Goldberg the door to them? Oh my God. That's it. This is all it took. I can't do it. Every single reason why you were excited about Kamala Harris, beyond the fact that she was not a carcass, was literally the exact opposite of this mentality. This is old Democratic Party mentality. We're back. Good to be in business. This will be a very close race. Kamala Harris will most likely still win it because Donald Trump, unless there's some other caveats I'm going to show you in a second, Kamala Harris will most likely win this election only because the Republican Party is so completely insane. They don't know how to run a normal, competent race anymore. Donald Trump already has maxed out his name recognition. I said there were caveats. This is right after the DNC. This is right after the fucking DNC. Hasan 1L. No. The situation worsened. Those will be the reasons as to why Kamala Harris will most likely win. However, there is a caveat. Benjamin Netanyahu will take America's long military dick and wave it at everyone in the region, bringing troops into the fray, okay? Bringing troops in the contest. Do everything in his power to make sure that the Dems don't win. Kamala Harris will be attached to all of Joe Biden's worst foreign policy achievements. Barring that, without that, this election is not in the bag at all. I've been warning that the Democrats are way too cocky, way too fucking confident about the Brad Summer memes, the momentum that they got, the momentum that they experienced. That momentum came because the Democrats responded to public pressure. I'm sorry. You have to be the dumbest to be like, I'm voting for Kamala Harris because she's going to go to war with Iran, because she's going to stand up to America's enemies. You want to know why I know you don't think that that's a good speech? Because you're coping in the chat saying, well, I don't think you would have gotten kicked from the DNC if you wore a suit. They kicked you out for comparing the DNC's actions to Israel's behavior. Yeah, which was also very Israel coded in terms of the actions. The DNC was like, bet, I'll prove it. The DNC was like, oh, you think this is Israel behavior? I'll show you Israel behavior. Bet. I bet. Now that Warren aide hates Hasan, she still posts about him, was always going to happen. Wait, what do you mean? Who the Warren aide? Hated it when you said it back then, but it was bars. I knew that was an aspie she gave. Yeah. Remember the setbacks that you had, the mental hurdles that you had back then. Okay? That's why you have to trust me sometimes. I know what the I'm talking about. Okay? I know what the I am talking about. I was right on the Israel stuff. I was right on their pivot to the right on immigration and how it was going to be a failure. I told you all of this, and there were so many people that for some strange reason did not want to believe it. They wanted to sit on the cuck chair. They wanted to sit on the copium chair, and they wanted to cope around. They thought, it's at summer. It's at summer. Every single thing that I have called out, from the DNC onward has literally happened. And I've gotten a shit ton of backlash from, of course, forces on the right throughout the entire process, from establishment liberals throughout the entire process, and even from people to my left. Okay? I'll give you an example. All of the things that we called out about why Kamala had a much higher likelihood of defeat than the way that the mainstream was presenting it came to be true. I also told the Democrats right after this electoral defeat that it was partially because of Israel, and it was also partially because they were actively moderating, even though what they in DC think is moderation is not exactly moderation for the actual voters. They just don't think that that's moderate. They think Medicare for all is moderate. Okay? And then after that, we went down on the ground when there were anti-ICE protests. That's when I realized that the public was directly at odds with where the Democrats were. While Democrats were jumping over one another to thank ICE or to pass the Lake and Riley Act or to fund ICE further and further under the Trump administration, or to claim that Democrats were going to do a much better job with ICE than Trump. I said, that's a mistake. You're leaning into the reactionary sentiment again. You are literally repeating the same things that you did. You are contributing to that defeat. And I was right. I saw the public backlash. And I told you that attitudes were eventually going to shift, as Trump did not solve any of the problems he ran on. As Trump ran on a I'm going to fix the prices campaign, Trump was clearly never going to fix the prices. He's a Republican. Okay? And people were going to get more and more frustrated. I also repeatedly explained over and over again that the attitude on Israel had changed and the media was refusing to recognize it. People did not listen. And then I saw the appetite for change on the ground, not just from the youth that were participating in the anti-ICE protests, but from the olds as well. I went to the No Kings rallies and people said, this is bullshit. These are just old libtards. Who cares? They're just taking away the revolutionary potential and feeding it into something that makes the olds feel like they're doing something. But that was the moment when I realized that this was our opportunity. Okay? That was when I realized this was our opportunity. That it wasn't just the youth frustrated with the Republicans and even the Democrats too. Older voters were as well. And ever since then, I've chosen to seize on that opportunity. I've been obviously, this has been a very fortuitous moment, especially considering that the DSA and all of this Bernie-crat left flank insurgency has been brewing, learning from their losses and consistently pushing to make these changes, consistently running better candidates, regardless of the defeats that we experienced, never losing hope. And here we are. People will look to this and think this is a random opportunity. People will think that this happened overnight. It has taken more than a decade to get here. More than a decade to get here. And now we have arrived. That's why I always say revolutions are not spontaneous. As contradictions worsen, it is important for us to explain to people why they're feeling the pain, why they're feeling the frustration. It's important for us to always be there to offer a helping hand. That's why we have to be disciplined. That's why we have to be organized. And that's precisely why right now, in this moment, adjusted to the current material conditions, we are taking advantage of the electoralist route. It will not always be the electoralist route. Electoralism is not the end-all be-all. This is not entryism. But this is the largest platform that socialism has gained in American history, with the exception of Eugene Debs, I would say. And even then, the DSA and its ranks have grown to become the largest socialist organization in American history.